was really tall. He was like what?
He was like 7 foot or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
And we look over like,
to him.
Anyway, back to being toxic.
Like, I now have this photo with
right. What even is this?
I don't know who this is.
Okay, so I was watching my own thing, and there was this thumbnail for these 3 girls talking about. It's not even clear in the title. It's like a terrible title. Chatting with Faye and Kenny fundraiser event. But there's one thing about this, the thumbnail for this video. The girl in the middle, she's wearing a weird kind of shirt. It has like a two-tone thing where her boobs are that make it look like in the thumb that she's wearing a shirt with like cutouts where her boobs are hanging out. It's not that, it's just an optical illusion. But I was kind of tripping out on the thumb and talking to Rachel, I was like, God, like, why would somebody click on this video? Because it's got such a boring title. Those aren't her boobs. And it seems very unlikely these girls are going to talk about something interesting or whatever. And yet, then I found myself clicking on it. Why did it just have 7,000 views in one day? Turns out, this lady over here on the left, Whitney, I think her name is, has 247,000 subs. And so I thought, okay, I gotta see what this stream is like, okay? Because what's going on here? So this is what the stream's like. I'm gonna play a little bit more clips of it and comment some on typological things and a couple of other things.
He's some type of football. He's a big deal at MSU.
Oh my god.
I learned about him. Hey, I'm really good at this. Thank you.
You are.
I realized the punctuation of the night we can't even tell though.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I feel so.
Okay, so I guess you couldn't hear them in that part, but I mean you could probably hear them a little bit through the speaker, through the mic here. But this is the thing they do when people give them money. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. In contrast, I'd like to point out that the other day, Octavio Silva was kind enough to give me a donation, a super chat, and I sort of glanced at it and it went in one eyeball and out the other. I didn't even give it any attention as like thanks or anything until Octavio Silva said, "Boy, you really don't like money." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your super chat." Of course, I get caught up in, but this is and then the super chat comes. I'm not getting distracted by that. It's me being disciplined in some sense. But look how differently these girls do this. Look at them all smiling and, "Oh, thank you so much, Darlene, for your donation." And donations just come in pop, 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 pop. But I could never do that. I mean, obviously, I'm not a pretty young girl either, so that doesn't help. But I just could never do this, you know.
Thank you.
I was in the photo.
Wait, what? I can single you out. Oh shoot, how do I do this? Single you out.
Oh. Am I just telling the story now?
No, later. Okay, let's see the picture.
We want to see the picture.
Wait, I don't know how I did that.
Let me pause this. So heretofore they've been telling a story about their outing to the bar where they engaged in various horseplays, drunkenness, and flirtations with various boys. And of course, the topic is titillating. You know, it's like drunk college girls go out and spark stuff fly with various men in the bar. And what's going to happen at the end? It's like they're doing very SFJ style storytelling, and yet I found myself after listening to it for a little bit, I was like, oh god, this is banal, and I turned it off, and I was like, but I wonder what happened. I went back and started watching it again. So there's a good reason why this thing's successful, right? People like puerile shit. Me included, apparently.
It's like, I don't. It's just like a tall dude who's apparently a legend. I don't know.
Bring that back up. Bring that back up.
Apparently, if I like showed it to people, it would be a big deal.
Michael Jordan?
No.
Rachel says it's Lamar Odom.
He's a I think he's a college football legend.
Yeah, he's a legend, especially within MSU. I know that. Like so if you're not really like within the college football, but he's like known at MSU, like.
But he was like really. He was like, I really hope that you. I'm sorry to this man. Like he was so like, I need you to take a photo with this person, and I was like, you can take a photo with him. I was like, no, you have to take a photo with this person. I was like, okay. So I take this photo with the guy. And
well, send it to me. I'll ask my dad. He might know.
I sent it to the group chat.
These comments are funny.
So they're like, okay, and he was like, oh, do you want to like go get food or something?
Somebody in their chat also posited Lamar Odom, and somebody else in the chat said, oh, no, that's not Lamar Odom. See? Chi Cheese says not Lamar Odom. So, Rachel, you weren't the only one who thought that was Lamar Odom. So what you're hearing here is this girl and this girl. This girl is telling the bulk of the SI kind of components of the story. This one on the right here. This one in the middle is, though, seeming to tell very SFJ style stories. And this one on the left is seeming to take the NI kind of role here of asking them, drawing out their SI stories without really revealing any SI so far herself. So let's do a little bit more analysis on this, because I don't know. Sometimes, random shit you hit click on, it interests you at the right moment.
They like go somewhere after this, like we can all go together, and I was like, okay. So we end up getting like more drinks and like Kevin Durant. No, I wish. And so then after that we go somewhere, and then the Joe guy was like, yo, I think something's really special with like Bill and Kenny. We should like leave them alone. And I was like, I don't know what you're.
Is Bill the daddy or not?
Bill is 40. Is that what we're calling him?
Okay, not the daddy. Okay, you got it.
Because like it's like a big deal. He was like, oh, he's like a big deal. He's retired. He's 40. Like, let them be together. I think they want to talk it out. And I was like, I don't know why you're talking for me. I definitely didn't say that. But they just left us. So now I'm just sitting here with this 40-year-old man, and we're just like chilling.
There will be my side, okay? I will have a side to this, but keep going.
There's a lot of ageism on YouTube. I'm not one to complain about discrimination or whatever, but there's an awful lot of ageism. So this guy's 40. This girl's over 21. She's gonna hit 40 before she knows it herself. And what happens is, in some sense, people grow up as they get older. In another sense, they really never do. It's like, I'm 50. I can see how I'm in a much later stage of development than these girls, but I can also see how it's just an extension of similarly hierarchy specific things of their own of a different nature. It's like these girls will still be like this 20 years from now. It'll be a more considered version of it or something.
And I was
This
just
is the third comment I've seen about this. Was it Shaq?
no.
I thought so too, but no.
He was a good 7 feet though. Like if you like for those of you that know, I'm not the shortest person in the world. So if I'm like dwarfed by him, yeah, that's a big dude.
Okay.
But
I was
we're just-
alone. Just you two. Just kikiing.
yeah,
and-
some like miraculously, I was kind of confused. I was like, okay, so this all right, so we're just gonna talk about
Thank you so much, Tyler. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy.
You see how they're all on board with this stuff? Like, they've decided at some point prior to these live streams that when somebody donates money, they're going to reward them for that behavior by squealing delightedly and doing this dumb freaking thing with their hands, right? And it obviously works like a charm, you know, because if someone's going to give you money, they're trying to say, I want to make you happy. So it's like, Octavia Silva gives me the money the night. I completely ignore it as I continue arguing with whoever I'm arguing with until she says, boy, you really don't care about money, do you? And I go, oh, shit. I am so sorry. Maybe I don't actually care that much about your $3, but what I do care about is the fact that I was rude there, you know, and I was rude and I was ungrateful and I didn't say all the requisite FCE shit I wanted to say because I was in the middle of some sort of TI finger wag, you know. These girls clearly do a much, much better job of me than I do of pimping money from people. So, but you know what I've never heard anybody say, Eric? What you really, I wish you did more of is pimp money from us. I've never heard anybody say that to me. Now, probably these girls don't hear said to them very often, I don't like it when you pimp money from me because they've got it down, the little shtick, right? They're talking, and somebody sends a donation. Surprise! And brief disruption, and they're right back into the flow of things. They're really quite pro with their FE. All of them are. They're all presenting as equal colleagues in this delighted mutual friendship and capacity to share their own stories with each other in a way that's super appealing to the viewer, right? It, nevertheless, like, this could not possibly keep my attention for, I will not return to watch these girls again because their story's a little slow developing. You know, it's like, I want to know, I don't want all these backtracks and that kind of stuff. I don't want it to be like a poorly structured anime where they're always having flashbacks to previous events in the story they're currently telling unnecessarily. So I probably couldn't watch this more than like once, this kind of thing, because it's after a couple times you're gonna get the same kind of stories. Well, it's a different part this night, and we said this guy, and that I guess could be newly interesting as a new guy, especially since they seem to show pictures of the person.
Done that one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I almost fell off the chair. Thank you.
We went crazy. Okay.
I was like, it's an intense one. So it leaves me there. We're just like chatting about, he was like, apparently he had a lot of money and his dream dinner to go on like was Elon Musk. And I was like, oh, great. Capitalism. And so like, I'm sitting here like, oh, okay, we're talking. And they come back. Well, I can't tell the thing that was the big deal, Faye. I just realized
We should not.
we can't.
No.
Something
he
like
was
really.
millionaire?
He was.
Don't fool yourself, girl. You date a guy who likes Elon Musk, it's going right up your poop chute. Alright? That's a red flag. If your guy's a fan of Elon Musk, wants to emulate him or something, you go, yo, no Muskers around me, mister. The guy's dumb and got everybody convinced he's smart. That's not okay. All right, that should be your position, your default dating position for any gentleman caller who likes Elon Musk. So, good job there. You get 2 relationship approval points from me. This is your dating approval points. I'm scoring you in your dating strategies. You currently, red shirt girl, have 2 points. Other 2 girls, you have 0 points each. So you better get cracking. Host Eric's here to grade your ass.
Who's a millionaire?
Okay.
Okay. I did have the epiphany that, and me and Faye were talking about this. I feel like a lot of men think I'm flirting because I'm having a conversation, and so they think I'm like really into them.
Yeah,
the hard
I've
way.
noticed that with you as well. A lot. Okay, every time I'm with Kenny, except the last time it didn't happen because we weren't really in that setting. Like, men are like, obviously you're beautiful, but they have like, there's something about you, Kenny, where guys are just like, it's like, you know
It's
how
the way
much
she talks.
a lamp or something, like the light. That's how it is. The guys are just like, oh.
That's why Kenny cannot be mad that I left her. Wait, keep going. I will tell because
You what?
Keep going, Kenny. I'll tell you.
Wait, why?
It's interesting. They're the 2, the middle girl wanted to get in her bits of the story. It's suggestive that that middle girl, even though you might well say looks NFJ, is SFJ, the girl on the right could be an ISFJ or maybe even an INTP. She seems very Alpha Quadra. So, I don't know. And these are just speculative typings. I'd have to actually talk to them and ask them questions, actually give them types or whatever. But just speculatively, this is what I'm using here at the moment. This girl on the left is clearly some sort of NFJ, either I or E. So, that's my typing. Just watch a little bit more and see if we get some more deets on what happened here. They kind of look at each other and go, we can't say that. We can't tell about that part. But let's find out what they can tell. I bet they end up going, well, maybe we can tell. And, of course, I am interested in the story because it's purient by nature, right?
Well, that's like me with Big Brother. Oh, well, no. Well,
Big Brother's also purient. It's just purient in another way. It's more like purient about people who cutthroaty behavior with each other.
Yeah. And I had to see the ending of it because I had, invested so much time into the storylines that, like, if I didn't watch to the end, it just...
Who won?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Xavier. I had a feeling.
The lawyer guy?
Yep.
Yeah, he seems like the strongest contestant. Or I thought maybe Big D was going to somehow pull a last-second swindle. Somehow.
Second.
All right, so let's find out what happens here with these girls. And INTPs, if you're going to correct me on purient and say no, it actually does specifically link to sexual things, I'm conceding in advance, I might be wrong saying that it extends further than that. So go ahead, correct me. You can't help yourself.
Sorry, I was just overstimulated. That was just a lot of words all at the same time. I'm like, huh?
Well, I'm not surprised when like a guy falls for Kenny. Like it happens.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, because we were just talking about like, oh, you're 40 now, I'm 26. Like, if you could look back at your 26-year-old self, like, what would you say to them? Like, what things would you have done? Whatever. And I was just like talking, so I didn't realize this turned into like a flirtatious thing. But apparently, at some point, he had texted the other dude and was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to talk to her." I'm like, "Ugh." So here we are. He's just going on about like, "Yeah, I retired, yachts and stuff." I'm like, "Great." I don't like water. That sounds awful. Like, I don't want to be there. But they come back, and apparently something that was really big and a big deal happened, and we can't say what it was.
Not to us. It was the public.
The public?
Just in some.
Okay, that girl in red might be an ENTP, might be an ESFJ. She seems more extrovert than introvert, although ISFJs when they're on can seem very much like that. And it's hard to gauge her TI level, but she definitely seems a level more intellectual than the other two. Just a sort of a gut thing. So she might be an ENTP, which would be a funny thing to happen upon, you know. But I may be sort of wishful thinking there on that. Let's watch a little bit more. I don't want to get in trouble for clipping too much of their shit, you know.
Something happened that shut down a street.
And a bunch of cops were called. That's
and
all.
a bunch of cops came.
They came. Like,
So
all the cops in town came. That's all. No biggie. Kidding. But there were a lot of cops.
the cops came and it made me antsy. And I was like, okay, you know, I think we should like round this up. They were like, oh, do you want us to get you like some Gatorades or something so that you guys feel better? And I'm like, yeah, that's great. So they go to there.
Oh no, that was not what I said. Definitely not. Oh, that's great. No.
Oh, well, he just said, you want Gatorade? I'm like, yes, I would.
I didn't know that happened. I was like,
yeah, no. Joe came to me and was like, would you like Gatorade? And I thought he was going to go off to get it. And I don't feel comfortable with men just going off to get my drink and stuff. So I was like, we can come with you. Then we met this really.
This is so funny.
This is not your side at all. I realize.
I'm not realizing how different it was for us. This is so cool, though. Okay, yeah, keep going.
So we get there. We end up seeing this dude that was really drunk on the floor, and usually when I see like really drunk alone people, me and you were like going up to him like, "Are you good? Like, is everything?"
Like
okay?
I had a thing for Kenny too. I feel so funny. He's like, "I heard you had a boyfriend," and I'm like.
I mean, you know, they're quite charming, right? They have a very good charismatic appeal. Makes them likable, carries you along with the story because, you know, the enthusiasm of middle girl to sort of get in her bits on red shirt girl, it makes everybody smile because what they're doing here is this FE technique where they're purposefully displaying all the positive emotions, not really purposely, but by nature, willfully, because of whatever their function stacks are. Except maybe this girl, who maybe has to be a little more conscious of it if it's third slot or something. I don't think she's an INTP or FE's too good, but they're all killing it in the like charming company without really telling you anything of great importance. It sort of puts you back, if you're older like me, it puts you back in your 20s a little bit, remembering like, you know, this is the post-mortem in your 20s after party night when you went out and all this crazy shit happened, you know, and it's kind of fun. And then you've got this girl being the like, I'm the listener. What? Wow. And these two doing as best a job they can in terms of sharing the same kind of audio space, and to the extent that they both want to get in it, it works as charming rather than annoying. So there's lots of reasons why this channel is successful. It's not just that they're pretty girls, right? It's like pretty girl alone is not enough to win you viewers and a lot of like people at a live stream like this. They must have had, I don't know, they must have had 100 or 200 people or something there. 247,000 subscribers. Since it only has 7,000 views, well, actually, they may have had 5,000 people there or something. I don't know, because the post-stream views usually don't comprise the majority of the views on my streams, but obviously these girls are in a different league, you know.
Hey, let's back up. No. So he was there just looking
at everybody.
No, out here, guys, in the street.
He was sitting here. He was sitting here looking really like out of it. He just had like a bunch of beer and he was just like looking alone and depressing. And I was like, "Are you good? Did your friends just leave you here?" And he was like, "No, I'm great. You want a beer?" And I'm like, "No, that's not what I asked. I said, are you good? Because you look bad. Like, are you okay?" And so I like sit next to him. I'm like, "Are you good? Because you don't look great." He was like, I feel like not. I'm not trying to say this to be like rude or anything, but I feel like you're patronizing me." And I'm like, "I'm not. You're about to throw up on the ground and you're here." And he was like, "I appreciate it."
It's funny because, of course, a situation like that, that guy who's drunk is reading FEQs, even if he's got decent FE, very clumsily. So he's like, "You want to help me? I know what that means," but he's totally wrong, you know. And that's the punishment that girls get for trying to be helpful in circumstances like that. They're always going to get picked up on, right? Because they're talking to this drunk guy who's sitting alone, and you're a pretty girl coming up to him, and he's emboldened by the fact that he's drunk. So he's like, "What? Maybe the night's giving me something at the end here after all. What? Hey, here we go. Hi there. I'm fine now, baby. Yeah, we're gonna be good. You and me is gonna be ee-oo, ee-oo." And she's like, "No."
He's like, I care about your well-being.
And then the next morning he's telling his friends, "I was this close to banging this hot 26-year-old. He was not that close. He wasn't close at all, but that's not how he told the story. Now, part of the reason this group is
I was like, you were alone in a bush. He was in a
this
bush.
middle girl's got some knocks
Between
on.
bushes.
He doesn't really
Between
show
bushes.
He was
that much,
between
but she
two
got some
bushes,
serious
just sitting
knocks
there
on her.
with a bunch of beer and was just handing me. I was like, no, hon, I'm good. So I was like, okay. And then his friend came over to check on him, and I was like, oh, so you have friends? They didn't just leave you here. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna go. And he was like, oh, I heard you had a boyfriend. And I was like, I didn't. I do not. And he was
Who's
like,
saying that?
so I thought Faye said it. I thought Faye lied to him
No.
just to get him out the way, but apparently not. He was like, oh, I guess I've been misinformed. Because again, we're still standing next to Joe and Bill, right? So
It's a good way to press the issue, right? I heard you have a boyfriend.
And one of them is
Doesn't compel you to wait for her to go.
Yes. Okay.
Mention in that awkward way, like, "Well, my boyfriend over there would probably save me." I'm yeah, you know, like, okay, girl.
Since you're good, we're gonna go.
So he like preempts it, you know.
and I was like, so what's your name, hon? So
Looks like I got another donation.
I was like, can I guess your name? Because you look like a Brandon. And he was like, no, my name is it started with an I, so I'm gonna say my name is Isaiah. And I was like, oh, I was really far off. He was like, they're pretty close. And I'm like, they're not. He was like, they both start with consonants. I was like, they really don't.
Golly.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Wow.
They both start with consonants. It's like, if you were gonna get that right, the only thing you come up with is they both start with letters. That's funny. Like, I'm playing with NTP for this girl. You know, playing with the notion of NTP for her. I'm curious now. I want to hear a little bit more from her because I want to see. These girls are cool. I like them. They're charming.
Guys.
I
Yes.
do.
She does.
Overwhelmingly so. And so he was like, but thanks for like looking after me. I'm like, yeah, you just looked very alone out here and very drunk, so I hope you're good. I'm gonna go now. Just
Okay, so
try to
then
brighten the night.
Then you go off with Bill.
I do not. Bill and Joe are together at this point, and they're like, would you like us to drive you home? And I was like, absolutely not. And apparently the Bill one lives not super far away from Faye, and I was like, absolutely
Oh,
not. You're not
God.
gonna know where people live.
Right.
And then another thing with the cops happened, and then we left.
Okay, so here's my version. Okay, listen.
Wait. So you let Bill go? You let Bill slip through the fingers? Like Bill's just
What was
like,
there to do? What was there to do to hold on to?
oh, I thought you and Bill had something.
Oh.
This is a reoccurring thing I'm noticing.
Yeah, wait, hold on, wait a little bit. This was a little bit deja vu about the last time. You were like, I thought there was something with you and so I'm like,
She's not very feely. This one on the right. She certainly seems like a thinker. And she certainly seems like Alpha Quadra. The funny thing is, of course, if you're a girl reality's different. So if two chicks offered to drive me home and I was drunk at the bar, I'd be like, sure. And if I'm single or whatever, and I'm gonna be thinking, hey, maybe these girls want, and it's why they give me a ride home. But from a girl's perspective, it's gonna be like, two guys are like, you want to ride home? She's not thinking that. She's thinking, no, because I know you guys are gonna try to fuck me. Totally different perspective of the thing, Kind of funny how men and women operate somewhat differently. It's almost as though men are from Mars and women are from another part of Mars. Let's continue. I want to hear what Faith has to say. She's graduated from middle girl to Faith, but she did, I believe, misspell her name.
It's Faye.
Faye the G?
Fag.
Her name's Fag?
Faye Fag.
Her name's Fig?
Faye, yeah, Faye.
Big Fag the Big
Yeah,
Bag?
because see, chatting with Faye. Faye?
Regardless, you're back to middle girl. You've been relegated to middle girl again. I'm sorry, but that's what you get for not having a normal name. I don't care the fact the other two have normal names. You're still left girl and right girl.
Yeah.
I thought like Lumberjack came looking for you. Like we're just. Wait a second. Can I just do it? Can I do a very short rundown of that story really quick to explain who Lumberjack is?
Wait, before you do that, I just want to say huge thank you to Ebony as well. Thank you, Ebony. Everyone. Thank you.
Kenny, can you just finish telling the story? Now you want to add an additional story because you left off some one of them?
He was here in Michigan and we all decided to go out. This was in like 2019 or something like that. And
October, Halloween, baptism.
It was Halloween. And I ended up like hitting it off with this guy. And then I just kind of got bored.
Wait, I want to tell the story because I was the only one that was sober. We went to this bar.
The red girl, you see how she is like, when it comes to these questions, were we hitting it off or not? She's like, I guess we're hitting it off. It's kind of got an FI Polar vibe,
Oh my gosh, they kind of embarrassed me, but whatever.
What'd I do?
We were playing games.
I remember the DJ was
Cornhole?
Yes, we were playing cornhole, and Faye was like hitting people and like hitting the ceiling. And I was so
I remember there was a point that the DJ realized that we were all friends, but you were like way sitting by yourself. And then he went on the intercom and was like, "Get your friend, she's boring."
Yeah,
he was like, "Why your friend ain't dancing?"
Don't do that to me, sir. I'm trying to be by myself. Anyways, but yeah, so Kenny and him, they were off and they were doing their thing, and I was like, wow, she really hit it off with him. And afterwards, Kenny was like,
He was like, I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah,
I note that the one on the left is telling this story about the other person's experience with another third person, and she positions herself as the observer throughout. Faye still hasn't got a chance to tell her story. I think I'm out of patience for this now, but
I want to hear her.
This one seems to be the most interesting one to me, but I do want to hear Faye's story. I guess we're just gonna have to speed it up since I got some built up time. Let's go at 1.5. Hopefully the high pitched giggling at 1.5. I guess it doesn't really change the pitch, does it? Well, here we go. All right, wow us, Faye. Wow us with your story.
Well, my side of the story is we were dancing and I had to pee, so I didn't even say anything to him. I was just like mid dancing, I gotta pee, and then I just left. And when I came out of the bathroom, you guys were saying, "Oh, let's go somewhere else." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna go," but he was still there, and I was like, "Why is he still here?"
you wanted to go for the night, like you were his woman, and you were just like, bye. I'm
Oh,
like, dang, Kenny.
The smooching, the booty rubbing, that happened. So
I did not say that, but that did happen.
it did happen. I will say it. I will be that girl to say it. It happened. I saw it.
well,
Kenny
I
always
wasn't-
has
I
our
was-
man. Period.
I wasn't aware that I was confused. Like when he was still there, I was like, what? I was like, okay.
Fact.
And so like when he came when he was still there, he was just standing there. I was like, okay, it was nice meeting you. Okay, we're gonna go. And then like later, like hours later, you guys were like, that's messed up. Why would you do that? And I was like, no way, what did I do? He was like, you could have invited him to the next place. You could have. I was like, that wasn't even an option. That ran in my head. I didn't consider that at all. I'm not a savage. I'm just stupid. I didn't realize.
Well, she sure sounds bipolar. I'm gonna tentatively type red shirt as ENTP with a possibility of ESTP, but probably ENTP. She's talking, you'll note the stark difference between the kind of topics I normally talk about and the kind of topics she's talking about. But you'll note how very much she wishes to dictate the flow of this narrative. And her FE is not quite good enough because she's not quite realizing that she needs now to give this other girl her space to tell the story. But at the same time, Red Shirt's very charming and engaging, and I kind of want to continue hearing her part of things. I think she's an ENTP, even though she may not sound like super fancy talk or whatever.
She tells a great story.
Yeah, and you might say, well, then maybe ESFJ, but no, her storytelling is more. It's not focused on revealing to the listener the other person's emotional response like ESFJ's is. Like ESFJ tells a story with, and then he was like, and that's sort of like show the other person's facial expression and stuff like that to try to really get you to get the kind of data they think is important. She's not really doing that, telling kind of like stories that involve her being oblivious to the other person's feelings. and the other girl's like, I can't believe you did that guy. What?
It's just like face blindness. It's like when someone asks, like, yeah, he was when Whitney was saying to Kenny, yeah, he, like you had him like waiting there, and she was just like in anime when their faces go into like either big white eyes or like yeah.
It's like she was clearly thinking like, well, I'm doing things that I want to do right now.
Yeah.
I'm offering an assumption that you must be doing things that you want to do right now too, and it's not my responsibility to keep an eye on you. And all of a sudden, she sort of led on this guy, and then kind of like said, "Psych! Those last 3 hours you spent, working on me, go in the garbage." And so the other girls got the guy's feelings obviously a lot better than Red Shirt did, Okay, this is fun video, but I can't believe it's been 40 minutes. So, 40-minute analysis of whatever this channel's called, like Vlogging with Whitney or something. This girl on the left is Whitney, and it's called Whitney Bay Vlogs. So, Whitney, may I just say thank you for having the same name as California's tallest mountain. I've been host Eric. Rachel, my beloved wife and life partner, has been sitting here beside me to chime in once briefly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.